Welcome back. Let's catch you up on a couple stories that should be on your radar today. It is time for Rapid Fire. Here to break down the headlines are Seema Modi, Robert Frank, and Courtney Reagan. Welcome, one and all. And we want to talk some Bitcoin because this is sort of the headline that wasn't. Seema, we should be talking about it surging to new highs, right? I mean, it's a safe haven trade. Bonds are up, gold is up, but no, it dropped back below the $10,000 mark again, extending declines from yesterday. Granted, it's still up 150% for the year.
And that's the big story. If you speak to some of these exchanges that manage money for high net worth clients, they'll say big picture is still up 150% so far this year. I spoke to Michael Moore at Genesis Capital. He says there's no real news to speak of as to why Bitcoin has underperformed. He would just attribute it to normal volatility in the Bitcoin land. Yeah. I will say is that we have seen sort of this risk-off rally, right? The Dow up 340 points, now up 3.2% so far this week. So has that made some of these other assets less appealing for the week? I mean, silver did stage a major reversal today, as did gold.
I mean, I like it because people can't figure it out the way they can't figure out gold. Sometimes it seems like it rallies because it's, it's going up with financial assets. Another time, is it because it's an inflation hedge? Is it a hedge on real rates? The explanation seems to shift week to week and month to month.
Yeah, it had that run up when markets were really going crazy.
Right.
I and others thought it was sort of the safe haven trade where a lot of Chinese and others just said, look, the yuan's going down, maybe the pound's going down, let's put money into Bitcoin.
Exactly.
But then it's just hard to figure out with risk on, risk off.
And if you go back to the original time when it crossed, did it ever cross 20,000 or we just got close?
Right around 20,000, December of 2017.
Yes, that was at the top of the market. I mean, people then were saying Bitcoin is a sign, it's an early tell for stocks, because stocks are rallying then. Exactly. Now it's the complete opposite. I just think there's no... the answer is it's just in its own world.
Extremely volatile asset, or if you can even call it that. Actually, you can't call it that. But what the technical analysts are saying, if you want to call them that, is every 6 weeks you'll see some type of breakdown in Bitcoin. And so this is what it's experiencing right now.
All right. Well, moving on. A new report from UBS says 43% of U.S. consumers it surveyed plan to subscribe to Disney+. That's more than Disney itself has predicted. Disney has forecast somewhere between 20 and 30% of broadband households would be subscribers. Now, more than half of those who would sign up are telling UBS they would also cut at least one other service, pay TV being the first service they canceled, with other streaming services closely behind. We talked about Netflix's underperformance this year. You have to think they're worried. But I guess as a reminder, the pie doesn't keep growing forever.
You have to think they're worried. And the most interesting thing about this was, look, we know Disney Plus is going to be very popular. They're saying maybe 20 to 30 million in the U.S., 60 to 90 overseas. It's going to do great. Who are the losers? So what's interesting about this is that only 13% of respondents said they would have 3 or more streaming services. So 3 is the number. 3 is going to be the number of, like, how many of these services can people have? 3 is going to be the number. So you Amazon probably 1. Netflix is probably 1.
Really think Amazon?
Amazon, those could be the 3.
Sure, yeah.
Netflix, Disney Plus, and a third.
What about Hulu?
NBC will definitely be the third.
NBC hasn't even launched yet.
It will be number 1. But let's say one of those 3. Then what happens to Apple Plus?
Right.
What happens to HBO now?
Facebook has its own offerings.
So all these other things, if it's 3, then there's only room for 3. That's where it's going to get
And that's
tough.
like most other industries. They ultimately consolidate to 3 or 4 major players. This one's probably going to be no different.
Yeah, it seems to make sense. If you're trying to cut the cord and get rid of your cable bill, how many subscription services are you going to want to pay for where you still feel like this is a worthwhile investment for my family and we're still saving money off of that pay TV subscription?
And you're still using it. I mean, How much can you watch?
Right. But Disney, I think, is obviously if you have a family with young children and they watch the same movies and cartoons over and over and over again, I see a lot of value in Disney for many, many U.S. consumers, perhaps more so than some of the others.
But you're saying
those families.
You're not necessarily going to binge watch The Lion King 150 times.
I'm not.
That's because you don't live in my house.
Yeah.
But we do that.
That's true. That's true.
Now this, if Jack Ma is right, you'll have plenty of time to stream The Lion King because while on stage with Elon Musk at an AI conference in Shanghai, the Alibaba executive chairman predicted that artificial intelligence should enable people to work for just 4 hours a day, 3 days a week. 12-hour work week. Sounds great. But this is the same guy who also endorses China's standard 12-hour work day, 6 days a week for the time being.
This was crazy to me, because he's talked about that 996,
Yes.
the 9 to 9, 6 days a week, and he endorsed that. And artificial intelligence, I think, I don't know, may make our lives more efficient, but will it really allow us to cut back and work less? No, isn't the point for it to make us more productive to do more?
I mean, I hope he's right.
Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
But I don't think
let's
it's true.
see if he is right. But I think the context here is also that China has been doubling down on its investment in artificial intelligence. It's really had that first mover advantage, whereas the U.S. is behind when it comes to innovation
You know why?
in AI.
China's going to run out of workers, and the U.S. is not. So they got to figure out how can we get people down to a 12-hour. Well, although then maybe that goes the other way. But anyway, they need the robots, to step up.
This idea that technology would allow us all this leisure time. In 1930, John Maynard Keynes wrote the book that said, by 2030, we'll only work 15 hours a week because we'll have so much time on our hands and all this abundance. Well, guess what? It had the opposite effect. Right. We all work a lot more than we used to.
That's exactly my point.
So I don't know. Another prediction of leisure time just not going to
going out the window.
Yeah.
He also made the case that artificial intelligence will be a force for good. He says, I think because of AI, people will have more time to enjoy being human beings and dance and karaoke. So
yeah, they can dance
clearly
with the robots.
AI is bringing the dance party.
This stuff is all neutral. It can be good. It can be bad. It's not. You can't decide now that it's going to be fine. And he's talking to Elon Musk, who foretells that they're like takeover of society. Anyway, let's go back to Rihanna. She has a lingerie line called, and I think it's pronounced Sauvage X Fenty. This line is now worth $70 million, reportedly, thanks to $50 million in fresh funding. The collection only launched in May of 2018. It's been steadily gaining market share on the likes of Victoria's Secret. We know how those shares have been doing lately. Robert, this is just one of her many investments. Why is this one in particular doing so well?
Well, she's got LVMH first with makeup, and then she's got now a truly new fashion house. First time they've done that in decades, and that's yet to launch. And she's now worth around estimated $600 million. This is a woman who a decade ago was bankrupt or nearly bankrupt. And it's just incredible how smart she's been about her fan base and what matters to her fan base and reaching into these segments in a way that the current leaders aren't. So Victoria's Secret is based on this model of woman that, rarely exists in the real world. And Rihanna said, look, I want to make lingerie for real women. And it's working.
Yeah.
And she's in touch with that fan and that fan base.
Where do you, I understand you can only buy this direct, right? This is not like going through stores. I mean, that's another interesting wrinkle in all of this is it keeps reminding us that the disruption is coming outside of the traditional established players to their detriment.
And think about like Kylie Cosmetics that started online as well. It was powered by a Shopify website, and they were able to go direct to consumer first before they experimented with some brick and mortar. And I think that is also the power of a celebrity brand. Now, not all celebrity brands have staying power, right? Yes, you have The Honest Company from Jessica Alba and Goop from Gwyneth Paltrow, and that's been around for a while.
But they have plenty of their own controversy themselves for each of those.
Exactly. When we're talking about taking market share from Victoria's Secret, yes, of course, it has to be taking market share from someone, and Victoria's Secret is definitely struggling, but they still are multi-billion dollars in sales every year. And this is still relatively small, so just to put it all in
Victoria's
perspective.
Secret is, as they say, donating share to a lot of places.
Yes,
right now.
You've got Third Love and Adore Me and all of these other startups in the lingerie category, so I think this is sort of
I've never even heard of them. Are those direct?
Oh, you haven't? Yes. Yeah, this is all sort of ground that is up for the grabs. But also folks at Third Love will tell you, hey, it's actually pretty hard to make a really good bra. You have to work really, really hard at that. So I think also the product will speak for itself. And I haven't seen the product in person, so I can't really speak to it for Rihanna's.
Since she has been pretty successful in this regard, why? I mean, is she doing something different? It reminds me, we were talking to Shaq yesterday, and he really thought a lot about, like, what do I want my brand to be? I want it to be fun. I want to partner with products that I like. I want it to be, what is Rihanna doing? Is it that authenticity, or is it the fact that she's going super high end?
From what I understand, and Courtney nailed it, I think part of it is just her pure reach, right? Her social media reach, which is the defining marketing characteristic now. But it's also that she really does launch products that, from a price point of view and from a value point of view and from what the consumers want, it's the right thing. And, it's not just her fan base. What she's been able to do is broaden that appeal to non-core Rihanna fans to just be a good product, whether it's the makeup or the lingerie. It's just good products.
She's not just this detached celebrity who's putting her name on a product. She's been gaining clout in the fashion world ever since 2015, partnering with Puma, then the perfume with Dior. Fast forward to this year with LVMH and now Fenty and this lingerie brand. So she's really been taking these innovative roles among different brands, and she's gaining a following.
Got to give her props.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you guys, thank you all very, very much. Seema, Robert, and Courtney on Rapid Fire today.